David Morrell goes in on the thought of Canelo versus Terrence Crawford. Baby. He said it's a BS fight and he ain't trying to see it. And he said it's BS if that fight does get made, basically. In a brand new interview with Fight Hype, he says, quote, "It's simple. This fight is not good." Oh my gosh. He goes on to say Canelo is one weight and Crawford is a different weight. It's for business. Canelo has a lot of good fighters at 168 pounds. You have Terrence Crawford, 154. It's only for business. For me, it's no good. Canelo has 4 good people at 168 that are a good fight. Before Benavidez was at 168, why didn't they fight? Why fight Munguia? Canelo said before, I never fight the Mexican people. Why did you fight Munguia? Later you fight Berlanga. You have one guy at 168 that is a mandatory. So right now, it's Canelo Crawford is only for business. They're finishing their career. They have 2 more years, 3 more years, whatever, guys, for money. You have guys at 168. You don't need a guy at 154. Terrence Crawford, for me, is bullsh. Man. Shout out to David Morrell. Now, it's so funny. I love making follow-up videos like this because when I say it, most people get it. But you got the negative Nancys, the usual suspects, the detractors, the naysayers, and they, oh, ego, you're not the fighter. Who cares? It's a great fight. Crawford will whoop him. Now you have a professional fighter, undefeated, who's taking a huge risk early in his career that he doesn't have to fight against a guy like David Benavidez, something Canelo didn't do, right? So just imagine that. David Morrell, he got less than 15 fights and he's already fighting against David Benavidez, who's the main guy that fans wanted to see Canelo fight, right? And Canelo's like, give me 150, 250 mil and all these steep price points that who knows if anyone will pay that, because that's a lot of money, you know? And you trying to, even if it's a super fight, the companies and networks are going to want to make a profit, and the higher your payouts for your fighters are, the less likely that is, unless it does very good business, right? And I think Canelo's numbers have dwindled down over the years, and it's going to require Canelo being in with the right name. Like if he fights a Caleb Plant, the numbers will be better because that was an undisputed fight. Caleb Plant was a brand and people knew who Caleb was. He was a champion and people knew him from the interviews. So you can do some numbers with guys like that, right? I agree 100,000% with David Morrell. This is a BS fight with Terrence Crawford. Crawford is 37 years old. It's no slight to him. He's a great fighter, but boxing, when is boxing going to get rid of these notions that all these like weirdo extra fights need to happen? I mean, let me know, when was the last time where you seen these crazy weight class jump or crossover fights and it benefited the person that you don't think it should benefit? For example, Conor McGregor was coming to Floyd Mayweather's sport. The sport Floyd been boxing, Olympian, you know, should have been a gold medalist, and Conor was not experienced as a boxer. So that fight played out exactly how I thought it should. You had Jake Paul, Mike Tyson. The fight played out exactly as I thought it. You guys, a lot of you guys were hoping that Jake Paul would get shut up. You were hoping the Mike Tyson of old would show up. But it's like Mike Tyson at the end of his real boxing career, 20 years ago, he lost like all of his fights. And he was losing to guys that in his prime he never would have lost to. So how do you turn back the clock 20 something years later against someone who's bigger, younger, and I don't know what you guys truly expected, you know. Or you got Amir Khan versus Canelo. I told you that was a stupid fight, and guess what? He got knocked out with his eyes open. Eesh. And then he out of here. Kell Brook, same thing when he moved up and fought Golovkin. Had more guys, had Max, guys is nothing. You know, same thing. I told you it was a stupid fight. He was talking about some chocolate brownies. Okay. And then his eye got damaged to the point where I don't think his eye was ever the same. And then he loses to Errol Spence and the other eye gets damaged. So, I mean, when has this played out? Like, Canelo he has one of the best chins in active boxing. The fight's at 168. Well, like, what are we watching? What do we need to see? You know, Crawford, to see if he can pull something off. And here's the thing is, like, are you really picking Crawford to move up in one fell swoop, 2 weight classes? He just got to 54 to stop Canelo. I mean, to me, I'm not really seeing it unless Canelo got old overnight, because how do you fight Madrimov and he got 11 fights and a draw in there and you don't stop him, but you're going to stop Canelo? And some people were like, oh, but Madrimov has better footwork. Okay, he does have better footwork, but he's also not 2 divisions higher. He's about equal in size to Terrence Crawford, right? And he doesn't have necessarily Canelo's chin. We'll see how he does with Boachuk. That'll be something to watch to see how he does with that style. Somebody who's a full-fledged 54-pounder and got some pop. Because in my opinion, especially they're trying to book the Virgil Ortiz fight, that's dumb, because Boachuk ain't no chump, and that's not a give me. That's not a guaranteed win for Madrimov. A lot of you guys are like, oh, he gave Crawford a tough fight, so, you know, Boachuk, he's going to easily beat him. Yeah, we'll see. Anyway, that's all I got to say about that. But I agree with Morel 1,000,000%. It's a dumb fight. I think some fans are fiends and they're just so casual that they don't really care if it makes sense. They just want to treat it like a video game. It's like seeing your favorite streamer and then your favorite R&B singer, like Chris Brown on Kai Cenat's stream. People just want to see, you know, what that's going to be like. But this is not a streaming episode or going live. It's not a video game. So I've never been big. I didn't even want Jermell Charlo and Canelo. So I'm keeping the same energy. And if you know, you know. Like Morel is saying, it's a business fight and it really doesn't make any sense. And here's the thing is, like, does anyone believe Crawford is telling you that it'll be the biggest fight in boxing? And I think people would watch out of respect for Crawford. And, you know, he does have somewhat of a name, but Crawford hasn't really moved the needle as a pay-per-view star like that. So I don't think it's the biggest fight in boxing, right? I think if you put David Benavidez, I truly believe this. If you put Canelo and David, like, let's say David Benavidez beats David Morrell, and then you made Benavidez versus Canelo. Crawford fight with Canelo would not grow. It would not be more financially viable and more of a blockbuster than Benavidez versus Canelo, right? Yeah, I'm talking about sponsorships, t-shirt and merch sales, live gate. I think the live gate would blow Crawford Canelo live gate out of the water. I think a Crawford Canelo live gate would be somewhere between whatever he did with Berlanga and Munguia and maybe Errol Spence and Crawford. Maybe, you know, somewhere in between that. But yeah, I'm not really big on the fight, and I keep telling y'all why. And it's good and refreshing to see people like professional fighters who are telling you exactly what I've been telling you. So it is what it is. Deal with it.